Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There is a book that has been the foundation and the basis for Islamic knowledge. That is the 40 Hadith by Imam al-Nawawi. This is an introduction to the 40 Hadith by Imam al-Nawawi. The 40 Hadith is a compilation of 40 sayings and mannerisms of the Holy Prophet. May the blessings and peace of Allah be upon him, and most of which is called, or most of which are called from Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih al-Muslim. And those two compilations of the sayings of the Prophet are seen as the most authentic by some Muslims. This collection of ahadith has been particularly valued over the centuries because it is a distillation by one of the most eminent and revered authorities in this area, Imam al-Nawawi. The first hadith is about the intention with which we do things as a people. Actions indeed are judged by intentions. The Holy Prophet, may the blessings and peace of Allah be upon him, is reported in this hadith, the first of the 40 hadith, to have said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are judged by intentions. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. And every man will have what they intended for. The sayings of the Prophet should be put into the circumstantial and contextual, period in which they were uttered by the Holy Prophet, and how going forward, many centuries down the line, and more than a millennium down the line, how we can absorb the sayings of the Prophet and implement them in our daily lives in our contemporary times. The second hijrah was the emigration from Mecca to Medina. The first was to Abyssinia. Because the Muslims were so persecuted in Mecca, God Almighty, Allah, ordered Prophet Muhammad, may the blessings and peace of Allah be upon him, to order his disciples who were persecuted at that time to emigrate to Medina. And fond stories were told by those who had left, because those who were guests, the Meccans who were living Mecca, were called Al-Muhajirun, and those who received them in Medina, their hosts, were called Al-Ansar. And before then, the Holy Prophet ﷺ had dispatched a young emissary by the name Mus'ab bin Umair to travel to Medina and lay the groundwork before the Muslims would leave Mecca and come to Medina. And Medina by road, I've traveled between Medina and Mecca. By road, you travel for about 6 hours. That was quite a distance. Persecuted as they were, some traveled using various means of transportation. And the scorching sun, and the danger on the way, the danger and threat of being killed was looming large in the horizon. But Medina was to serve as the headquarters of a religion whose influence would travel far and wide. Those fond stories that were told were that, when we traveled to Medina, a man had a farm and he gave half of the farm to somebody. So someone in Mecca found an allure in that and would also join in the hijrah or immigration, not out of belief, but out of the mundane things or possessions the person would get. And there are also stories that people who had more than one wife in Medina would divorce one and then give the wife to their guest who was coming from Mecca. So people migrated with varied intentions. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ, who had been in Mecca waiting for all his disciples or companions to get out of harm's way before he would leave Mecca, left later with Abu Bakr Siddiq, his close friend, and then his cousin, Ali ibn Abi Talib, also lay in his bed while the Prophet and his companion Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu traveled with him to Medina. And so the Prophet had cause to caution them And إنما الأعمال بالنيات إنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. And every man will get what he intended. فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله. Anybody whose emigration was solely for the sake of Allah and His Messenger, then so be it. The person's reward will be commensurate with that sincere intention with which he traveled. ومن كانت هجرته للدنيا يصيبها لا أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. And anybody who emigrated for other reasons, worldly possessions or a wife to marry, then the person would have what they intended. So whatever you intend doing, whatever action you carry out, the foundation for the acceptance or rejection of that action is the sincerity with which you do it or lack thereof. So we hope and pray that in our prayer, in our fasting, in our zakat, in our hajj, in our daily dealings with people, in our business, in whatever we do, we would have sincere intentions. This has been an introduction to the 40 Hadith by Imam An-Nawawi, brought to you by your brother from the Republic of Ghana, Al-Haji Rabbi Ibrahim. Till I come your way next time with another edition, stay blessed. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.